What do you think?
People, happy Thursday. It's Thursday on the Morning Night Live, and I'm glad you all are here. I've been watching tidbits here and there of the confirmation hearing for Judge Brown Jackson. I gotta stop. I keep wanting to say Jackson Brown because that song's running through my head. Running low, running on empty. That song. But, and I, as I told you, as this began, I'm not following it closely because I feel like she's going to be confirmed, put on the Supreme Court. I think just after listening to Ben Sass yesterday, that pretty much tells me that she'll be confirmed. There's some Republicans on her side, and so this whole grandstand. Well, every nominee battle lately, since probably since Robert Bork, Clarence Thomas, those nominees. Even Ruth Bader Ginsburg, when she was nominated, she wouldn't answer questions because everything they made a whole new rule thanks to Bader Ginsburg. But they're all kind of grandstanding-ish, if you know what I mean. And so, but there's something fascinating about this particular one for me as a man of the melanated variety, at how this particular nominee is being treated because she is a black woman. Now, if you're not around here much, if you're new here, if you're just popping in to see what the hell I'm about to say, you may or may not like what I'm going to say. Because people who've been here for a little bit probably have an idea, but I may even surprise you a little bit today. We'll find out. I don't know. I may or may not. I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say, no matter what you think. So there. Anyway, so that's part of the topic. It is also FTG Thursday, and I don't have a lot. I don't have a whole lot queued up for FTG Thursday, but there will be some. So sit back, relax, get ready to enjoy the show. Johnny, play the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way, but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, PDawg Knight. Stop the music. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as Dawg Knight on the internet, and welcome back to the Dawg Knight Channel. It is Thursday, the 24th of March, 2022, and on Thursday, it's normally FTG Day, and we'll have a couple. I've got some in my back pocket, and if you don't know what FTG is, just ask the people in the chat. They'll get it, because an FTG can go out to just about anybody. It doesn't matter your race, sex, gender, orientation, political affiliation. You just might get an FTG. Some people get them more around here than others, but it is that kind of day. And I do have my cup filled with the coffee-flavored goodness that's also known as coffee, sometimes known as my own personal form of reparations for me, because I love me some coffee. And but anyway, we're gonna talk. Some of the chatter about the nomination proceedings make me think, my God. Oops. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not talking about the people who are asking questions about Judge Brown Jackson's record. Nah, that ain't it. That's what they're supposed to do. This is a Supreme Court nominee. They're supposed to ask questions about record and judicial philosophy and things like that. But all of a sudden, all of a sudden, and I'm like, what? And I don't care. Look, apparently, because Judge Brown Jackson is a black woman, we're not supposed to ask her questions. Nobody's supposed to ask her questions anymore. And I'm trying to figure out, okay, if you're asking a judge, okay, what was your philosophy or what was your reasoning behind, for example, this whole pedo thing, the sentencing for the people with child porn, right? Is that not a legitimate question to ask a judge why they decided on every single case of child porn they went below the recommended sentence of the prosecutor and the sentencing guidelines? Now, as we found out later that it was the parole. I guess the parole board had in some of these cases, she always went with the lowest possible recommendation, and that was from parole boards, right? But they didn't have that information. See, it's weird because they say, because you know what's weird about that? So we find out the other day, okay, that information was available. The White House did not provide that information to the court, okay? But somehow the White House did provide that information to none other than Glenn Kessler of the Washington Post when he wrote his fact check. No, he wrote a fact check, then he, because something about it, and then later they gave him the information, and then they gave it to the Democratic senators. They didn't give it to the Republican, they didn't give it to the entire committee, they just gave it to the Democrats on the committee, the White House. And then the Republicans are like, wait a minute, we haven't seen that. Can we get that too? And then they finally give it to the Republicans, this information on the parole board recommendations, right? And then Glenn Kessler, in the middle of the broadcast, go, oh yeah, they gave that to us. Wait, what? They gave it to the White House, gave this to the Washington Post. But they didn't give it to the Democratic. They didn't even give it to the Democrats on the committee. They gave it to the Washington Post first. How does that make sense? That's some sketchy shit. I'm telling you, that's some sketchy shit. So anyway, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a few other things like we always do. And I have some, I'm going to get you updated on some news before we get into that. But first, of course, as I always do on the show, I say good morning to everybody. So first in the chat today is our friend Tyler Alexander, who gets the bell. Thank you for being here, sir. Appreciate you. As always. Also, good morning. Oh, you know what? By the way, did anyone tweet out the show besides me? I should probably check. Oh, I still have my name as John Martin O'Connor on my Twitter account. Well, it's PDawgKnight, at PDawgKnight on all social media, right there, at PDawgKnight. And most of my different video outlets, which include YouTube, BitChute, what's that one? Rumble, Odyssey, or Library, what do they call it? I'm on all of them. What is this? What the hell is that? Oh, I don't need that. I'm at PDawgKnight on all of them. Okay, that's what I use. I don't use my name. I use PDawgKnight as I am known on the internet. But I have John Martin O'Connor as my name on Twitter because that was the name I was born with when I was born, even though that's not my legal name now. I put that up for St. Patrick's Day, see, because, because O'Connor, right? That sounds like Irish and shit. All right, let's say good morning, everybody, and then we'll get into it. First, I said, I already said good morning to Tyler Alexander. Also in the chat today is Tyler F. Welcome, sir. Good morning, Advocatus Diabli, Attack Alpaca, Balin Bobby. Welcome back, my friend. Also, good morning to Aaron Meredith. My favorite Canadian Jaeger ponies in the house, Rotten Corpse, Emmanuel Presley. Good morning. Also, Miss Winnie. That's a name I have not seen before. Good morning to you. Also, good morning. And you may have been here, but sometimes I don't see every name, so I'm just saying good morning, people. And if you, by the way, if you're new here, subscribe and all that stuff. You know how that works. Good morning to Jonathan Peterson, DI Freighter Watcher, and let's see who else is here. Lord Stanhope's in the house. Maniac Man, welcome back. Nice to see you again. Is that everybody, or am I just skipping people? Oh, why are you so angry? That's a name, not a question. Also Attack Alpaca, and I think I kind of got everybody there. Oh, Technocratic Dreadnought, that's a new one. I know you've been here before though. I recognize the name. Good morning, Zombie Teddy and Somnambule Nation. I missed a whole bunch of people. This thing must have skipped or something. Jonathan Peterson, and that's about it. All right, so I have a kind of a clickbaity title to this stream called "Do Not Ask a Black Woman Questions." No, do not ask a black woman questions, because apparently that seems to be the consensus as I watch this phenomenon on Twitter, where a lot of people just immediately describe any of the questions asked of Judge Brown Jackson asking her questions, apparently that's automatically they're automatically racist and sexist because they're asking her questions. And I'm still trying to figure out how that works. Jimmy from Philly, what's up, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Also, good morning to the one who. I don't get it. So I'm like, okay, so we're just gonna do a little exploration here. We're gonna go on Twitter. Now here's in the what's happening section of Twitter right now, and this is the hearing that are going right now. And they have some today. What they're doing is they have just witnesses that are going to come in and say, oh yes, she's a wonderful human being and all that stuff, and she's the greatest thing on earth since sliced bread. And look, while I may not necessarily be a fan of this administration and whatever, they do have the right to put their nominees forth, and the nominees are supposed to be asked questions, which they have been over the last few days. And I don't care if she's on the court or not. I'm glad she's going to be there. But even though I believe that the telegraphing by Joe Biden saying, I'm going to nominate a black woman, diminishes this woman's accomplishments. Okay. If he'd have just shut the fuck up and said, okay, here's my nominee, I would be fine. But every time I see Judge Brown Jackson, I'm like, okay, he had to go out and find a black woman because he said he was going to, instead of I'm just going to go find a great judge, which I'm sure with her long career in the courts and whatnot, even though I don't agree with the decisions, at least the ones I'm hearing about in these questions, I'm sure she's just as good as any other judge they would have put up there. It's not going to change by going and getting another judge and saying, okay, let's not confirm this one and confirm someone else, because you're going to get the same kind of judge no matter what it is. It's the Biden administration and the puppeteers that are putting him on stage. Okay, this is Weekend at Bernie's. Just saying. I'm really afraid for him going to Poland though. My God. Oh. But anyway, so here it is, the final days of hearing for the U.S. Supreme Court nominee Ketanji Brown Jackson brings outside witnesses for the fourth and final day of U.S. Supreme Court nominee Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson's confirmation hearings in testimony from outside witnesses. I hate when they do that. The same damn sentence. They do it all the time. I'm seeing this in internet articles all the time. Their headline will also be the first sentence of what they're writing. It drives me nuts. Anyway, proceedings thus far have touched on Jackson's career and education, judicial approach, family life, thoughts on, I don't care about the judge's family life. I mean, I'm glad I'm sure she has a lovely family and, her husband and their 2 kids and whatnot. And I know that it's funny though, how that came up in, what's her name? Amy Coney Barrett. Kind of came up in her hearing how oh my gosh, a woman with 7 kids and they adopted some black kids and that. And they're watching people on the internet calling her handmaid and shit. I'm like, come on. This woman's a distinguished professor at Notre Dame and whatever. But anyway, and I don't think that it should matter a whole lot for Judge Brown Jackson either. I'm going to say Judge Jackson. I'm going to stop saying Brown Jackson because every time I say, when you say Brown Jackson, I'm just thinking, oh God, that's someone's name for their private part or something. I don't like the sound of it, so I'm gonna say Judge Jackson. Anyway, Vanessa Family Life thoughts on ongoing legal issues and more. Not legal issues, legal decisions. Good God. Ongoing. I see. Never mind. On Wednesday, Jackson said she would recuse herself if confirmed from a case involving admissions policies at Harvard University, her alma mater, where she currently serves on its board of overseers. You can't call a black woman an overseer. Damn. That's. Come on. Why isn't this working? There we go. That's right. You can't call a black woman an overseer. Damn. You can't even use that word around black people. That's my understanding. Sorry, I'm just being stupid. Anyway, Jackson needs to get a majority of the committee's vote in order for her nomination to move forward to the full Senate consideration. And then we'll have another circus for, I don't know how long this is going to take. I know it took, 99 days for Clarence Thomas's confirmation process. I hope it doesn't take that long for this woman. Look, I want them to all shut the fuck up. Every senator. I don't care if they like her, if they don't like her, they don't want her, they do want her. Just shut up. You know this ain't going nowhere. If Ben Sass, okay, there's 50, what is it? She needs 51 votes in the Senate. Every Democrat's going to vote for her, okay? And we know Ben Sass is going to vote for her. We know Mitt Romney's going to vote for her. We know Susan Collins is going to vote for her. Let's just shorten this shit up, okay? Whatever they do, I don't care. Anyway, all right, now, let's see if any, there's a couple people, here, I bookmarked one of these. I'm pretty sure I did. And yes, I did. Here we go. So now, this is the kind of shit that I'm hearing on the internet. Okay, here, let's take a look at the kind of things that people are saying. Now, this woman was responding to Bernice King, so I'm gonna show you Bernice King first. Okay, because this is the kind of nonsense that I'm hearing from the side that supports Ketanji Brown Jackson, who said Bernice King is it Dr. King's oldest daughter, I believe, or it's Dr. Martin Luther King's daughter. Okay, and she's part of CEO of Martin Luther King Jr. Center for Nonviolent Social Change. Okay, Ms. King says instead of simply applauding Ketanji Brown Jackson's brilliance and composure while facing contemptibly biased and racist questioning, I have questions about that. More white people need to stand up and help get racism out of our legislative bodies so that the next Judge Ketanji doesn't have to endure this. Endure what? A Supreme Court justice being asked questions about her record? Notice they're not saying, oh, this black woman, I can't believe it, but a black woman, I mean, get her out of here. They're not saying that. They're asking questions about her judicial record. Now, what's fascinating about this, that all these people complaining about them asking her questions about her judicial record. Has anyone accused Judge Jackson of rape, of gang rape in the middle of a hearing when there's never been anything caught up before? Has anyone asked like some super crazy shit? Has anyone accused her of being a handmaid or a bed wench or anything like that? Because she's married to a white guy, but that's okay. I don't give a fuck. I'm married to a white woman. I don't give a shit. Anybody? They're asking her questions about her judicial record, specifically about her judicial record. What biased and racist questioning are you talking about, Ms. King? Oh, because they asked about, someone asked about critical race theory. Well, that seems to be a topic du jour today, so I'm not surprised they asked her about it. I'm not surprised they asked her about her judgment on particular cases where she used the lightest sentence possible for child porn convicts. Oh, good Lord, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's a record 76 RPM or 45. Boy, I'm telling you. And then this woman replies, the woman whose tweet I bookmarked, which will be connected to the tweet that I just read. Black women want to be honored and welcomed. We don't need to be disrespected, discarded, or dishonored based on our race and gender or for any reason. Let me just have you put that any reason in your file cabinet right up here in your mind. Put that any reason in your file cabinet right now, because I'm coming back to that. It's unacceptable and needs to stop. I am crying tears about my race and gender in 2022 during a pandemic, in the middle of a pandemic. I haven't heard that one for a while. In fact, this is a hilarious last line because I'm still crying, dear, about my race and gender in the current year in the middle of a pandemic. Okay, I got a question. For any reason, Black women want to be honored and welcomed. We don't need to be disrespected, discarded, or dishonored based on our race and gender, or for any reason. Really? So, let me think about that for a second. Now, this is whataboutism, but she said for any reason. Okay. How about Candace Owens? Now, y'all know I'm not necessarily a fan of Candace Owens, but do you think this lovely woman, Ada Ori, would agree that this Black woman named Candace Owens does not need to be disrespected, discarded, or dishonored based on race and gender or for any reason? Oh, I know. Let's put something that's a little more relevant, something more similar, something that is not even, it would even be a more parallel example. How about Janice Rogers Brown? How about Janice Rogers Brown? In fact, if you don't know who Janice Rogers Brown, let's look up Janice Rogers Brown, because I'm pretty sure that she got asked questions during a Senate confirmation hearing. Janice Rogers Brown. In fact, I'm gonna let y'all witness this. Does that include Janice Rogers Brown? Here, you said any reason? For any reason? Does that include Janice Rogers Brown? Condoleezza Rice? Okay, so for any, I'm curious. Janice Rogers Brown, by the way, let's just go to Wikipedia here. This will be good enough. Now, Janice Rogers Brown, if you don't know who she is. Oops, that's the wrong one there. Let's fix this. Let's put it so you can see it. Hang on. Let's fix, there we go. Janice Rogers Brown is an American jurist. She served as United States Circuit Judge of the United States Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit from 2005 to 2017, and before that, Associate Justice of the California Supreme Court from 1996 to 2005. She's a member of the Federalist Society and frequently features at events hosted by the organization. Her 2000 nominee by George W. Bush to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia was opposed by civil rights groups and stalled for nearly 2 years by Democratic senators who saw her as an extreme conservative judicial activist. She was eventually renominated and confirmed in 2005, the following month after Justice Sandra Day O'Connor retired. Brown was reportedly considered as a potential nominee to replace O'Connor she was ultimately not nominated. Now, I'm just curious. Is this person who was this black woman whose nomination was delayed and denied for 2 years, a black woman? Does she count when you say black women want to be honored and welcomed? We don't need to be disrespected, discarded, or dishonored based on our race or gender or for any reason. For any reason. Because, I mean, this woman, I mean, 2 decades of her career, Brown primarily worked in government agencies. From 1977, she was deputy legislature counsel with the California Legislative Council. 79 to 87, California Deputy Attorney General for the Criminal and Civil Divisions. 87 to 89, Deputy Counsel and General Counsel for California Business Transportation Housing Agency, blah, 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 blah. She was on the California Supreme Court. And when she was nominated, I'm pretty sure, I think Joe Biden was in the Senate at the time, and he was one of the people who led the whole thing against her, right? I'm sorry. What do you think of that black woman? Huh? Do you think that there was contentious questioning of Janice Rogers Brown? I'm pretty sure there was. Really doesn't matter at this point. The Supreme Court is a joke of wokeness, and any respect or admiration for the judges is gone by refusing to address the 2022 election. Interesting. Oh, you meant 2020. Oh, by the way, good morning, GDSOB. Nice to see you. Welcome. So but this is the kind of the thing that's going on all over the internet. It's all about, let's see. Here's one. I'm crying out loud. I'm crying with you. The black woman I have the privilege to have as friends. Oh, a woke white woman. Yes, we need a liberal white woman. Thank you for protecting us, po black vote, liberal white woman. The black woman I have a privilege to have as friends are unbelievably strong and filled with integrity and faith. So, who gives a fuck? So you know some good people. There's some fucked up people of every race and age and gender and sexual orientation and hue and whatever other, good God, shut up. I have witnessed these women faced with terrible racist behavior in a working environment and maintain their professionalism. Really? What? Be specific. Be specific. Oh gosh, the virtue signaling white liberal woman. I love it. We need. Who's they always say we need some. What is it? Some white. I don't know. Some kind of control or something. So, yeah. I mean, they're asking her questions about her judicial record on this committee, and people are losing their fucking mind. You can't ask that to a black woman. Shut the fuck up. Get the fuck out of here. Oh, anyway, so let me now I'm going to come back to that, but I'm going to get into some news because I just things that are happening right now. Apparently, speaking of the Supreme Court, Justice Clarence Thomas is still apparently in the hospital. Now, this is someone here this is from the 23rd. This is from yesterday. Should we be panicking about Judge Clarence Thomas now? On Friday, Supreme Court announced that Justice Clarence Thomas has been hospitalized after experiencing flu-like. Oh, by the way, yeah, did Judge Thomas get the kid gloves from these people complaining about how Judge Jackson's being questioned? Yeah, I don't think so. Anyway, on Friday, the Supreme Court, let's see. He's been hospitalized after experiencing flu-like symptoms. Thomas, 73, was admitted to Sibley Memorial Hospital in Washington, D.C. Quote, Justice Thomas' symptoms were abating. He's comfortable and could be released within the next few days, Supreme Court spokeswoman Patricia McCabe said on Friday. According to the statement, Thomas underwent tests and was diagnosed with an infection and is being treated with intravenous antibiotics. It's been 5 days and we haven't received any new updates from the Supreme Court since Sunday when Thomas was expected to participate in the consideration and discussion of any cases for which he is not present on the basis of the briefs, transcripts, and audio of the oral arguments. He has done so according to a report from HuffPost, but he did not participate on Wednesday. The Chief Justice Roberts gave no explanation for Thomas's absence. Some Capitol Hill sources say that Thomas' symptoms are worse than have been released by the court. Claims that he has stupid-19 have been dismissed. It's time to be concerned about Justice Thomas. Well, the question to me is, or answer to me is, I don't necessarily think so unless they're not telling us so. Remember, how quickly Judge Scalia's situation turned, and that was weird, and it seemed well, the internet rumors said that may not have been so kosher. Anyway, also in the news, this is something funny. Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau, the authoritarian from the north, or wannabe authoritarian. He wants to be more like his dad. I'm just saying. Wait, let me repeat that. He wants to be more like his dad. I'm just saying. Anyway, one of the European Parliament. So he's over a bunch of the bigwig countries supposedly that are supposed to be in charge of the world are over in Poland or somewhere over in Europe because they're all meeting to talk about the situation between Russia and Ukraine. Well, a member of the European Parliament called Trudeau a dictator, and Trudeau was in the room, and this is hilarious. So let's see if this is let's see if they have the video here. Here it is. Here's the video. Let's see what it's not that long, I don't think. Yeah, it's only 2 minutes. Listen to this.
Poštovane kolege, dragi građani.
I'm sorry. It's not. It's translated on the screen. It says some of you may not be watching. Oh, did I say Pierre? I meant Justin Trudeau. Did I say Pierre? Okay, you know what I meant. I meant Castro's kid. Anyway, so this is wait, Quebec. It's all good, Castro. Anyway, so this I'll translate since this is not in the language that most of us normally speak. Let's see. Okay.
Poštovane kolege,
dear colleagues, dear citizens, Prime Minister Trudeau, freedom, the right to choose, the right to life, the right to health, the right to work, for so many of us are fundamental rights, which for millions of citizens of Europe and the world have laid down their lives to defend our rights and the rights of our children, which we have acquired over centuries. Many of us, including myself, are willing to risk our own freedom and our own lives. Unfortunately, today, there are those among us who trample on these fundamental values. Canada, once a symbol of the modern world, has become a symbol of civil rights violations under your quasi-liberal boot in recent months. We watched how you trample women with horses, how you block the bank accounts of single parents so that they can't even pay their children's education and medicine, that they can't pay utilities, mortgages for their homes. To you, these may be liberal methods. For many citizens of the world, it is a dictatorship of the worst kind. Rest assured us, the citizens of the world united can stop any regimes that wants to destroy the freedom of citizens, either by bombs or by harmful pharmaceutical policies. Thank you. There's Trudeau sitting there right in front of him. That's, oh my gosh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And he did it, Anyway, all right, real quick. Just a reminder that the Morning Night Live is brought to you by you, the viewers of the Morning Night Live. If you'd be so kind, please, please, please hit the like button sometime during the show. Share the stream anytime, before, during, and after the stream. And if you're watching a replay, put a comment in the comment section so that I know you were here. And then finally, if you want to do a little more, just make this show just a little bit better every day, there's a tip jar too. You can go to PDawgKnight, click the PDawgKnight.live link. It's somewhere in the chat, I'm assuming, or my chat. Yeah, my chat thing's there. Look for the Streamlabs Superstar sponsor chat links in the chat, or you can do YouTube Super Chats if you don't mind giving Susan 30%. There's a couple other ways down below, but thank you for those who do that every once in a while. It helps a lot. You just don't even know. Also, just a reminder, a week from tomorrow is our 800th episode. I'm going to bring a special couple, well, maybe more than one special guest, but for sure at least one. And we're going to start Project 10,000. We're going to try to bump up the viewership of the channel by doing some promoting and whatnot. We'll have more details next Friday. Look forward to the 800th episode of the Morning Night Live. So there you go. All right. Also, in just news that's coming up, apparently Tucker Carlson was suspended from Twitter last night. Now, I did not know this. Did anyone else notice this? And I don't necessarily watch Tucker, but I do occasionally. I see videos of him on the internets quite a bit because he's apparently controversial to some and inspirational to others. So he said last night, this show learned that we were suspended from Twitter. What was our crime? Well, they dared to highlight 2 accounts that Twitter has banned, Charlie Kirk and the Babylon Bee. There was nothing hateful about either one. Both had noted their biological sex is fixed at birth, as has been universally acknowledged by Homo sapiens for at least 300,000 years. So here's he did. Now I guess I can't get suspended for this. Here's Tucker telling his own story.
The point of the trans movement isn't to convince anyone that biology isn't real. They're not even trying. That's an impossible case to make. You would sound ridiculous if you tried to articulate that, much less explain it. The point of this exercise
but Judge
is
Jackson's
very
not a
different.
biologist.
The
Come on,
point is to make the rest of us repeat a lie, to say something we know perfectly well is not true. Yes, Leah Thomas is a proud, beautiful woman who won the swim meet because she practiced harder than the other girls. Leah Thomas deserved to win. Her victory wasn't cheating. And no, I don't notice her bulging swimsuit. I have no idea what you're talking about. That's what they demand you say.
Why is he looking at it?
Not because they care about Leah Thomas or any other trans person. They could care less.
True.
Making you pretend to believe something you don't, that's the point. Because if they can make you pretend to believe something you know is untrue, they've won. They control your brain. So this isn't about trans people. It's about all of us, and the stakes are very high. And that's why the censorship is so intense. Have you noticed? Our national conversation about transgenderism is completely defined by censorship, by making you shut up, not allowing you to notice the obvious
social media.
Is why they're doing it. There's no attempt to persuade you. There's no fact-based argument. You can't respond, oh, so men can become women just by wishing it so? Tell us how that works. Can I stop male pattern baldness the same way? Can I grow 6 inches? Please explain how this remarkable new power the trans community has discovered might apply to me. Can I do it too? The power of positive
Well, of course
thinking.
you can, Tucker. Of course you can. You can identify as a woman tomorrow.
Well, that's a fair question. They'll never answer it. They'll just make you
but
be
here's
quiet.
we got in trouble with Twitter.
Their first move always is censorship, and their second move inevitably is punishment. We learned that again last night when we were suspended from Twitter. Quote, we have determined that this account violated the Twitter rules, specifically for violating our rules against hateful conduct. Twitter rules.
Now, this is interesting because I got a warning from YouTube the other day too for something similar. Not for this, but for another reason that as I read the rule, I didn't break the rule at all. But anyway, violating our rules, hateful conduct. You may not promote violence against, threaten, or harass other people on the basis of race, ethnicity, national origin, sexual orientation, gender, and gender identity. That's the one that kicks. That one's the one that kills me. Gender identity. What is that? It's gender. I get, but gender identity. Oh, because I identify as something else. What is that? But anyway.
To us, the only way out of Twitter jail was to delete our tweet, to pretend we never said it. to cleanse America's conscience by just
And that's
whiting out
that's
the
what they
past.
did to the Babylon
What
Bee,
was our
too.
crime, by the way? Well, we dared to highlight 2 accounts that Twitter has banned from Charlie Kirk and the Babylon Bee. There was nothing hateful about either one. We'd say look them up, but you can't because they're gone now. But both merely noted that biological
their
sex
accounts are
is
there.
fixed at birth. This has been universally acknowledged by Homo sapiens for at least 300,000 years. So it was a factual statement. But on Twitter, as in our public life, truth is no defense. Twitter is now run by a man called Parag Agrawal, who has said plainly he does not believe in free speech. Agrawal came to this country as an adult to get a degree from Stanford. Now Agrawal controls the single most important forum for America's political conversation. That is a big and important job. It's not just a public company, it's much more than that. It's a kind of public trust that allows this democracy to function. So you would think you'd want a guy like that, in a position like that, to have some respect for his adopted country's core institutions, beginning with and primarily the First Amendment. But Agrawal has no respect for a First Amendment or a Constitution. He explained that.
All right, so anyway, that is, that's an unfortunate ending of the show. But anyway, Tucker's been suspended because he featured people that they had suspended. Anyway, we do kind of like snowbirds do Florida. We want warm beaches and bears' asses, but we only want to live there 3 or 4 months a year. Well, I am going to make it my first trip into Canada this year, hopefully, later this summer. Also, let's see. I already got, let's see. Do I have this somewhere? I have that, so I'm going to move that. I'll get into her information later. Apparently also in the news, the Taliban, a girls' school reopened in Afghanistan. Did you hear about that? But unfortunately, hang on a second here. Let me put this back. Unfortunately, the Taliban has closed it. They closed it right after it opened. Taliban closes girls' school hours after reopening. The Taliban closed girls' school just hours after reopening on Wednesday for the first time in almost 7 months following President Joe Biden's withdrawal from Afghanistan. When I came to school in the early morning, I was so happy. I saw our principals crying. I did not know the reason. After that, all the students were crying. A student identified as, is this real? Is she identified as Uranus? Uranus? Is that, come on now. I identify as Uranus. Okay, that's not really how it's supposed to be there. Hi, Jeffrey Russell. How you doing? After all that, the student cried. Anyway, told Tolo, which is a news outlet, after the Taliban seized power, Afghanistan's Ministry of Education closed schools for girls after 6th grade with the promise to reopen at a later date. Although schools reopened briefly Wednesday morning, they closed shortly thereafter when the Islamic Emirate said it needs time to develop a plan to draw up in line with Islamic law and Afghan traditions, reported Bakhtar news agency, an Afghan state-controlled outlet. We are wearing hijab. We do not know what kind of hijab they are talking about, the student told Malalai told Tolo. The closure may be another sign that the Taliban is returning to the hardline Islamic rule that held over Afghanistan from 1996 to 2001. At that time, women could not leave the house without a male relative, and girls were banned from attending schools. They claim to be an Islamic country. They say we are an Islamic emirate, so they have to act based on the sayings of the great messenger of Islam. As he says, both women and men have the right to learn, another student, Malika, told the Afghan outlet. We were so excited to return, and now we don't know what will happen to us, student Sakina Jafari said, according to NPR. So anyway, there's another good reason for it to... Look, it's FTG day. Somebody's got to get FTG to that. So we'll do FTG, Taliban, and Joe Biden. There you go. There's our first FTG of the day. And then let's see. What else is on here? Oh, DeSantis. Ron DeSantis is people are mad at Ron DeSantis because he has decided that he's proclaimed that the winner of the NCAA 500-meter women's switting freestyle title is the woman from Florida, not Leah Thomas. So Florida Republican Governor Ron DeSantis declared Emma Weyant the rightful winner of the NCAA 500-yard freestyle over transgender University of Pennsylvania swimmer Leah Thomas. Now, I don't think that his declaration necessarily carries any weight with the NCAA, but it still's got people pissed off, right? University of Penn touted that Thomas broke a program record after she finished the freestyle in 4:33.24. Weyant, an Olympic silver medalist swimming for the University of Virginia, came in second, 1.75 seconds behind Thomas. Thomas began competing as a woman in 2021, 1 year after starting testosterone blockers. Thomas has broken multiple national women's records despite not standing out previously as a male athlete. Now, I had someone try to tell me the other day, well, her time is only 10 seconds behind the NCAA record, and it's so she's not the best ever. And her times when she was swimming as a man were 20 seconds behind the top time for men. You know what? First of all, these the difference in top times and even between top time and 120 times in the women are actually have a larger gap than it does for the top men and the top between like 1 and 20. So it doesn't matter. And he was ranked 432nd, I think, or 462nd, something like that, and his last season as a male swimming for the men's swim team, and now is the number 1 swimmer in the NCAA for women. So what's your point again? And also, guess what? Leah Thomas is a physiological male, period. And you don't swim against psychology, you swim against physiology. So whether he's psychologically a woman in his brain, because he's declared that he is, or she, or whatever, I'm not trying to, look, I am not trying to misgender Leah Thomas. That's why I try not to even say it, whatever. Physiological male athletes, whether he's a psychologically woman or not, physiological male, and so on and so forth. I've had this discussion already. Anyway, it's funny. I was seeing a clip from Dave Chappelle too. How he was talking about, when Caitlyn Jenner, only 1 year into being woman, became Woman of the Year. I mean, it's like, man, didn't even have to go through any periods to be Woman of the Year. I mean, just, showing how physiological males. How is that not patriarchy? I don't get it. How is it not patriarchy? Anyway, show the meme I put in Discord. He's on a cereal. It's called Cheaties. I haven't seen that one. Let me see. Let's check that out. I'll pull that up. I don't know if I can put that on the screen or not. Let's see if I can figure out how to do this. Let's see. That would be over here. Will this show up on here if I put this over here? I bet it won't. No, it won't. Let me see if I can. It's in the memes, I'm guessing. I'm assuming it's in the memes section. I haven't been in the memes section for a while. There's probably a lot of good ones in here that I haven't seen. Oh, I think I just saw it. Oh, no. I haven't seen that one, but I have seen this one. Hang on a second. Hang on. Let's see. Discord. I have seen this one, though. Have you seen this one yet? When you can't make the Wheaties box? Okay, that's just wrong. That is just wrong. That is so wrong. I gotta stop doing that shit. Okay. Anyway, where's what happened to Ace here? Hang on. I lost. What the hell did I do? Oh, here we go. Is this it? What the hell did I just do? See, this is why I don't change things in the middle of a show. All right, let's get this back on the screen correctly. What happened to my... Oh, there we go. All right. All right, that's back. All right. Oh, we have a sponsor. Our first sponsor of the day. Thank you. Wait, Jimmy Das Hotep. Jimmy Das Hotep. Welcome. And by the thank you for sponsoring the show, Jimmy Das Hotep. Appreciate you. This controversy made him bigger than he ever would be. They're going to make a figure out of him like Cap, going to bank off his adversity. Are we talking about, oh no, are we talking about Leah Thomas? This is Leah Thomas? Holy smokes. Oh, Mateo. Is that the Mateos from, that hangs out with, let's see here. Anyway, by the way, thank you very much for sponsoring the show. Jimmy. China is asshole. Oops, that's the wrong one. Jimmy Das Hotep. Appreciate you through YouTube Super Chat. Greatly appreciated. By the way, also good morning to Midnight in Exile. I think a straight Sith males in the house. And Mateos Rafael Negas Instefanos. It's a new name I haven't seen before. Dogs and cats is more high valued to Africans and blacks. Look how they, so-called pro-blacks, support anti-gay bills in Africa and Caribbean islands. Yet they cry over white LGBTQ and have white privilege. These blacks is so homophobic. I'm not 100% sure what that means, but why do you give them political influence? Who are we giving political influence? Oh, you talking about the, I messed up there. You don't need to see the background there. I'm not sure you mean there. I'm confused. All right, let's continue on here though. Where is it? So anyway, Ron DeSantis has declared that Thomas became Sarasota, Florida native Wyant won the silver medal for the 400-meter individual medley in the 2020 Olympic Games. DeSantis said that she logged the fastest time among all women swimmers in her race against Thomas last week. DeSantis wrote in his proclamation that male identifying as a woman was allowed to compete in and was declared the winner of the race by the National Collegiate Athletic Association. And Emma was determined to have come in second place. And he says by allowing men to compete in women's sports, the NCAA is destroying opportunities for women, making a mockery of its championships, and perpetrating a fraud. In Florida, we reject these lies and recognize Sarasota's Emma Wyant as the best women's swimmer in the 500-yard freestyle, and put this whole long proclamation together and signed it. The NCAA's actions serve to erode opportunities for women athletes and perpetuate fraud against women athletes as well as the public at large. He pointed to Florida's Fairness in Women's Sports Act and said that it is my determination that men should not be competing against women such as Emma Wyant, robbing women and girls of the achievements, awards, and scholarships. The NCAA has not publicly responded to DeSantis. After being declared victor, Thomas told ESPN, "I didn't have a lot of expectations for this meet. It means the world to be here and to be with two of my best friends and teammates and be able to compete." Well, that's a controversy that will never stop. At least, until you know what? What's going to stop that controversy? Women in sports saying enough. Unfortunately, so many of these women at this age, who are of the sports age, have been indoctrinated into this, to believe that there is no such thing, that all you have to do to be a woman is declare that you're a woman. And even the question they've been asking Judge Jackson, it's like, well, can you define a woman? Well, she's not going to define it, because if she defines it, then she's going to have to make decisions based on a definition, and they don't want a definition anymore. It's just crazy. Good morning, Legit Low Talker. So, it's just going to stay crazy for a while until women put their feet, until some women say, you know what? Nah, we ain't doing this no more. We're not playing this game that someone can just declare that they are a woman. And that's the problem. Because they are allowing the psychological trump the physiological. And until women say, I'm not going to, okay, if all other seven women who swam in that final protested by not swimming in that final, would that have a bigger impact than them complaining about it afterwards? And I understand. So if you've been watching, I've told you I've been watching Amazing Lucas's videos on this, and if you listen to it carefully, because it sounds like he's saying, well, yeah, she won fair and square. Well, she won by the NCAA rules, or Leah Thomas won. I mean, I don't even want to use that pronoun. I'm just going to call Leah Thomas. That swimmer won by the NCAA rules. The NCAA rules are ridiculous on this, because you're not swimming against her psychology. You're swimming against her I did it again. You're not swimming against Leah Thomas's psychology. You're swimming against Leah Thomas's physiology. And physiologically, Leah Thomas is a male. That's fact. That's a scientific fact. It will never change, no matter how many hormones that the swimmer takes. It doesn't matter how long. It doesn't matter what kind of surgeries. When 1,000 years from now, when they dig up Leah Thomas's dust, they will find a physiological male. If they clone Leah Thomas in 1,000 years from Leah Thomas's dust, Leah Thomas will have a penis again. Until whatever. Yeah, I know. I'm having a hard time. I'm just saying Leah Thomas. The problem is, Midnight, describe him accurately, is what Midnight in Exile is saying. Don't play their game. Problem is, I'm on YouTube, and it's very I don't know. I've got a warning already, so I'm just playing this stupid game, but I'm not going to play this stupid game. I'll just call Leah Thomas. Why not use the word biology? Oh, well, I agree that also biological male. The reason I say physiological is because they're using chemicals and whatnot to change Leah Thomas's biology. Now, granted, you can't change the fact that Leah Thomas has a prostate and all that other shit. But the reason I say physiological, because it's because sports is not necessarily biological either. Okay, sports is a physical activity. And so I'm using a physiological versus a mental activity, for example. So someone whose psychology tells them that they want to tell the world that they are a woman, even if they are a physiological male. If that person goes and competes in a Monopoly championship as a whatever their declared gender is, I don't give a fuck. Okay. Or if they go, do some mental activity or some, if they're taking a Myers-Briggs test and claiming to be that person, I don't care. That's mental or psychological activity. Sports is a physical activity. Okay. Almost all sports are physical activity. And so that's why I'm using physiology instead of biology. So that's my point there. All right, let's move on because I got a few more to get through, and it's already 10 o'clock. Let's see. I already did that one. Yeah. Oh, is that the governor of Indiana? Yeah. Someone's saying they're okay. I can get rid of that. Oh, I wanted to the one. Now I'm not, like I said, we were not going to watch all these different videos of the questioning of Judge Jackson. However, I did want to bring up one thing about Ted Cruz's questioning, because he went back to this question. Speaking of determining people's chosen genders and whatever, Ted Cruz decided to go back and ask the question about how you identify a woman, or because the question about how do you define a woman came up to Judge Jackson. She said, well, I'm not a biologist. Really? Then you're not a biologist? Oh, but you claim to be a woman. That's because no one asked that follow-up question, oh, well, you were claimed to be a woman, right? How do you know that you're a woman? And no one asked that question in that manner, but she just said, I know that I'm a woman and my mother's a woman, right? Well, Republican Texas Senator Ted Cruz pressed Supreme Court nominee Ketanji Brown Jackson Wednesday on being able to identify as a woman or as an Asian man. Cruz asked Jackson on how she can determine which individuals are eligible to receive Article 3 standing in order to challenge gender-based policies without the ability to define what a woman is. That's a pretty good question. The standing holds that a plaintiff must allege real concrete harm in order to have standing to sue in federal court. And she answers, Senator, I know that I am a woman. I know that Senator Marsha Blackburn is a woman. And the woman I admire most in this world is sitting in this room today, my mother, Jackson began. Cruz then challenged the nominee on whether identifying a woman or as a woman or an Asian man gives him the standing to challenge gender-based, race-based restrictions. If I can change my gender, if I can be a woman, and then an hour later, if I decide I'm not a woman anymore, I guess I would lose Article 3 standing, Cruz said. Does that same principle apply to any other protected characteristics? For example, I'm an Hispanic man. Could I decide I am an Asian man? Would I have the ability to be an Asian man and challenge Harvard's discrimination because I made that decision? Jackson declined to directly answer the question, arguing that the issues are currently being debated in the courts. She used the Ginsburg rule. She then answered that she would assess any issue listening to the parties involved and considering relative precedents and constitutional principles involved. Now, wait a minute. How do you do what relevant precedents? Let's say it's a so-called gender fluid person whose gender changes at the whim of the time and present day or hour even. So can someone get Article 3 protection as a gender fluid person who feels like a woman one minute and like a man the next? And when can you get those Article 3 protections? Can you get it during both episodes or only during one episode? So anyway, Republican Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn asked Jackson to define the term woman during the Tuesday hearing, which she declined to answer, saying, I'm not a biologist. She then said she would address disputes over a definition and make a final decision after proper review. Well, this has never come up. No one's ever asked you this before. Cruz said Jackson is the only Supreme Court nominee in history unable to define a woman. Well, I don't know if anyone else got asked that, but it's just notable because why there's got to be a reason to refuse that, because she knows that current orthodoxy, at least in academia and in some corners of pop culture, have a different answer for that. Apparently, you can just say, as long as you say I'm a woman, then you are a woman, which is fascinating. All right. What's the cooldown on Article 3 protection, and what is the cast time? I don't know. Who has mimicked all platforms into one? I must be missing something up here as I'm looking up here. All right. And also, now, the other part, too, is that, now, this is going to be a little bit longer, but as the judge continued to dodge some of the questions Wednesday from Senators Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley about why she's given lighter sentences than those prosecutors had recommended in child pornography cases, the questions about Judge Jackson's sentencing record continued on the third day for Supreme Court confirmation hearings. Democrats who tried to dismiss Hawley's claims as factually incorrect retreated to arguing that Judge Jackson had legitimate policy disagreements with the established federal sentencing guidelines and blamed congressional inaction. Now, I'm curious, when you're a judge, do you, if you have, for example, legitimate policy disagreements with sentencing guidelines, are you allowed to just, on a whim, not use the sentencing guidelines? Is that how a judge works? So in the Supreme Court, for example, when let's say there's a precedent about, I don't know, whatever. Let me just say eating bananas on Sundays, okay? And there's a precedent that the Supreme Court had a precedent where they said that eating bananas on Sundays is against the Constitution, okay? And so Judge Jackson, and it's been a precedent that's been upheld 1,000 times, okay? And Judge Jackson had some disagreements with that established precedent. Can the judge just rewrite the Constitution or rewrite the precedent? Now, can they for one thing and not for another? Is precedent always there? So that's a legitimate question as far as, the court would go. But for whatever reason, the Democrats decide that because she had a legitimate policy disagreements with the established federally sentencing guidelines, that you can blame congressional inaction. So the legislature is not allowed to make the laws. That's the judge making the law, right? Or changing the guideline, okay? Well, Republicans were not willing to let Judge Jackson off the hook. Senator Lindsey Graham questioned Judge Jackson about why she seemed not to agree that prison was a deterrent against child pornography. Cruz, who first questioned the nominee about her views on gender and racial discrimination, ran out of time as he attempted to elicit explanations, and he objected that Judge Jackson was filibustering in an attempt to avoid answering his questions. He and Senate Judiciary Committee Chair Senator Dick Durbin engaged in tense exchanges as Durbin accused Cruz of interrupting her answers. Well, maybe she wasn't answering the question he asked, so he was clarifying. I don't know. But, it's funny. But remember, this is because he asked questions and didn't let her finish certain questions, like every freaking confirmation hearing. It's clearly racist, right? It's why isn't this working? Yes, yes it is. So anyway, later Senator Hawley, with a full 20 minutes on the clock, picked up where Senator Cruz had left off and asked Judge Jackson about her decision to issue lenient sentences in specific cases. Jackson refused to answer, saying she had already answered Hawley's question. She also repeatedly claimed that no one case can stand for her entire judicial record, and said that as a mother of daughters, oh my goodness, as a mother of daughters and as someone with family members in law enforcement, she took child pornography cases seriously. Anyway, there's a whole video here of if you want to watch that exchange. You didn't see it, so it's a Breitbart article, so it has all the biases that come with Breitbart, but the actual video is just raw video of the hearing. So if you want to see what they're talking about, it is in this particular Breitbart video. Also, Jackson, as I said earlier, she has decided that she would recuse herself on the Harvard admissions case as it's coming to the Supreme Court. If she is confirmed, Judge Brown Jackson will recuse herself from a lawsuit accusing Harvard of discrimination against Asian applicants that the Supreme Court will hear this fall, because she's part of the Harvard whatever. The judge revealed her plans in an exchange Wednesday afternoon with Senator Ted Cruz during her confirmation hearings. Jackson sits on Harvard's board of overseers. Damn it. I'm triggered. Use that word overseers in conjunction with a black woman. That's racist. That's racist! One of the university's two governing boards, which triggered speculation, well, it triggered me too, about her connection to the case as soon as she was nominated. Good morning, Gulf City Johnny Blaze. Welcome. The lawsuit broadly accuses Harvard of discriminating against Asians and racially balancing each admitted class. It also urges the court to overturn precedents that authorize race-conscious admissions. The Harvard case is bundled with a similar case involving the University of North Carolina. If the disputes are disaggregated, Jackson may be able to participate in the North Carolina case. There was some question before the hearing whether Jackson would stake a position on recusal. In the past, nominees have declined to make recusal commitments in advance, promising only to follow ethics guidelines in good faith. Recusals at the Supreme Court are rare and most common in cases involving a relative or direct financial conflict. They're also undesirable. Disqualifying oneself leaves the courts with an even number of justices. If the court deadlocks in deliberations, the decision of the court below is automatically affirmed and no controlling opinion issues. While substitute judges can sit in case of recusal on the lower courts, there are no stand-ins at the high court. So that's just an interesting tidbit, I gotta say. I think since she's already involved in this case as part of the litigating part of part of the litigation, it makes sense that she would recuse herself in such a case. Interesting article now I just got a couple of opinion articles that we'll finish with because I'm running out of time. This one in CNS News, judging the judiciary. And this is, I just found this interesting and I thought I'd share it. When Democratic Senator Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota questioned Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson at her Supreme Court confirmation hearing on Tuesday afternoon, Republican Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina and Democratic Senator Patrick Leahy of Vermont proved they have something in common in addition to being members of the Senate. Neither of them was in the hearing room, yet that did not necessarily make them outliers on the committee. A number of senators on the committee did not stay in the room to personally witness Klobuchar's questioning of Jackson. Democratic Senators Dianne Feinstein of California and Cory Booker of New Jersey, Cory Booker, the tongue-bathing senator from New Jersey who just can't get enough of this wonderful, absolutely perfect black woman who, oh, by the way, I'm sorry, appraising a black woman for being a black woman, I would say is just as racist as asking your questions. I'm sorry. Some of these people fawning over the fact that she's a black woman need to stop. Okay, all you're doing is highlighting the fact that Joe Biden chose her. The first criteria Joe Biden has was black woman. Okay, now, and that diminishes from the fact that this woman has a lengthy career between law school and being and other appointments and as a judge. It diminishes from a career. Stop it, please. Anyway, Dianne Feinstein and Cory Booker were also out of the room. So too were Republican Senators Mike Lee of Utah and Josh Hawley of Missouri and Tom Cotton of Arkansas. Other senators on the committee departed from the proceedings while other colleagues were questioning Jackson. So what this proves to me that this hearing has zero point whatsoever. These hearings are designed to give senators face time, and that's it. That they can go back and tell their constituents, and they'll get coverage in their state or their, wherever they're from, that this state senator got to ask some questions to Judge Jackson. Clearly, the senators on the Judiciary Committee did not deem it vitally important to personally listen to every word Jackson uttered during her confirmation hearings. Yeah, because they already know what they're going to do. This is a waste of time. Their decisions on whether to confirm her are unlikely to turn on anything she says or does at her confirmation hearing. So, what will determine their vote? Republican Senator John Cornyn of Texas had a particularly interesting exchange with Jackson on the topic of substantive due process. The term due process can be found in the 5th and 14th Amendments. The 5th Amendment says no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. The 14th Amendment applies this principle to the states. It says, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or the property without due process of law. Now, on their face, these constitutional provisions would seem to be aimed at protecting, among other things, the right to life. Interesting. In recent times, however, the court has found them to provide something quite the opposite. In the 1965 case of Griswold versus Connecticut, the Supreme Court reviewed a Connecticut law that banned contraception. The court voted 7-2 against the law in order to protect what it described as right of privacy older than the Bill of Rights. Interesting. That set the stage for Roe versus Wade. Justice Hugo Black, who had been nominated by Democratic President Franklin Roosevelt, was one of the dissenters in Griswold. In his questioning of Jackson, Cornyn quoted from Black's dissent in that case, quote, "The adoption of those loose, flexible, uncontrolled standards holding laws unconstitutional, if ever it is finally achieved, will amount to a great unconstitutional shift of power to the courts, which I believe and am constrained to say will be bad for the courts and worse for the country," according to Hugo Black. After reciting this quote from Black, Cornyn asked Jackson, why isn't substantive due process just another way for judges to hide their policy making under the guise of interpreting the Constitution? Her answer, well, Senator, the justices have interpreted the due process clause of the 14th Amendment to include a substantive provision, the rights to due process. They have interpreted that to mean not just procedural rights relative to government action, but also the protection of a certain personal rights related to intimacy and autonomy, she continued. They include, she said, things like the right to rear one's children. That's funny because some people are pissed off that parents in Florida are having the right to rear their children in the way they want. That law they like to call "Don't Say Gay," which is not really, there's nothing about saying gay in it. Anyway, I digress. One can necessarily conclude that in making this statement, Jackson was personally endorsing the right to abortion, as opposed to simply explaining that is what the court had done. However, Jackson also did not expressly reject it. Had President Joe Biden believed there was any chance Jackson would vote to overturn Roe versus Wade, he would not have nominated her to the Supreme Court. If Democrats on the Senate Judiciary Committee believed there was any chance Jackson would overturn Roe versus Wade, they would not be supporting her confirmation. Now that's interesting. That's interesting because she did, what did she say? She said something that I thought would set the world on fire. I could not necessarily conclude that in making this statement, Jackson was personally endorsing the right to an abortion. They include things like the right to rear one's children, I believe the right to travel, the right to marriage, interracial marriage, the right to an abortion, contraception. So anyway, if Democrats on the Senate Judiciary Committee believe there's any chance Jackson would vote to overturn Roe versus Wade, they would not be supporting her confirmation. They are not at all worried about which way she will go on the right to life. They believe she will follow in the footsteps of Justice Stephen Breyer, whom she served as a clerk and whom she has been nominated to replace. In the 2007 case of Gonzalez versus Carhart, which tested the constitutionality of a federal ban on partial birth abortion, Breyer joined Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg's dissenting opinion. In sum, the notion that the Partial Birth Abortion Ban Act furthers any legitimate government interest is quite simply irrational, they said. In sum, Jackson clerked for and will now almost assuredly replace a justice who held that it is irrational to protect the life of a partially born baby. Now, okay, so, but the other part of this question is that she didn't steadfastly say that it couldn't be overturned either. That was weird too, and I'm surprised that they allowed the Democrat. The other part, the fact that these senators do not have to remain in the room during these hearings, just tells you a lot. They're just there to grandstand and not really hear what the nominee has to say when the questions are asked to her. It's kind of crazy. All right, last thing, we'll finish up with this one. From the New York Post, and this is an editorial from the New York Post that I found fascinating. So we'll finish up with this, and it's entitled "It Isn't the Fringe Left Hurting Democrats. The Fringe is the Democrats." Democratic pundits worried about the midterms and Joe Biden's terrible approval ratings, which again have gone back down from the little bump that he got from apparently the Ukraine-Russian thing, which everyone's like, what the fuck's he doing? But the Democrats pundits are sounding the alarm that dastardly fringe is hurting the party. Oh, shocker. The whole noisy identity left composing 15% of the party has taken over. That's what James Carville says. The Democrats have to step away from the super wokeness, MSNBC Donnie Deutsch says. But what's what's the distinction between super wokeness, and ordinary wokeness when the party's oldest and most mainstream members are all pushing ideas that would have seemed outlandish in the Obama era? Biden offered a Fed nominee. The Fed, the guys, the people that control the money. He offered a Fed nominee who said she wants to deny credit to the fossil fuel companies that power America and tried to put an actual Marxist in charge of the currency. Only 10% of the senators in the party spoke out against it. The party's new legal superstar, Supreme Court nominee Ketanji Brown Jackson, can't offer a definition of a woman because, quote, I am not a biologist. Being moderately woke is like being moderately pregnant. Democrats now view anything in terms of who's being systematically oppressed. The reasonable view of racism is that there has always been racism in America. The woke translation is that America is defined by bigotry. From there you get to, I have no idea how to distinguish a woman in about 3 intellectual moves. Trans people claim to be oppressed. They insist that a woman or man is whoever declares that status on any given day. And because oppression must be cosseted, acknowledged, and put at the forefront of every question, the Democratic Party nods enthusiastically or simply remains silent. Voters are bound to notice when a party is singing nothing but Looney Tunes. Don't call it a lunatic fringe. Lunacy is the heart and soul and brain of the Democratic Party right now. And as essayist Wesley Yale noted on Twitter, the existence of a controversy about the definition of a woman is something manufactured within the last 5 years and not through advancement of our scientific understanding. No, it's just feelings. The Democratic brand Latinos with the term, the Democrats brand Latinos with a term they hate, Latinx. Cling to masks like Japanese soldiers still fighting World War II in 1957, and want to teach sex ed in kindergarten. Lunatics, friends. Forced masking for toddlers. Let property crimes go unanswered. Spend trillions of dollars to reduce inflation. Closing schools for a year is no big deal. Take illegal immigrants from the border and sprinkle them all over the country. Beg Saudis for fuel while stopping Americans from producing it. Everything the Democrats are saying at every level, from the trivial to the economy defining, is nuttier than an explosion at a Snickers factory. Retiring Democrat Stephanie Murray of Florida, leaping off the party bus as it drives through a red light, off the overpass, through the roof of a manure producing plant, says her party is being taken over by a faction that is trying to dismantle capitalism. Somewhere, AOC and Vermont's Mr. BS are thinking, duh. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to call it quits today because I don't have anything else open. But everything that I did go through and every tweet and every whatever will be listed in the link down below. Oh, what's this? Oh, that's Janice Rogers Brown. Yeah, I don't know if you remember when they were trying to appoint Janice Rogers Brown to the U.S. Court of Appeals. And she's a true, like, she is so constitutionalist, libertarian, constitutionalist judge, and the Democrats couldn't stand it because she has some problems with affirmative action. She has problems with lots of things. In fact, but anyway, everything that I linked is will be in the description down below in the second paragraph. One link to all the articles that we went through today. And just before we go, Tyre Alexander, thank you for sponsoring the show. And Tyre Alexander, you are
the new Streamlabs
Superstar sponsor of the day. Thank you very much. And since it's a sponsor ad, I guess I'll have to have some sponsor music. What was my sponsor music? I closed the music link, so I got to open it back up so that I can do sponsor music for the sponsor today. And let me, what was I in? I think I was in 90s pop. So let's go kind of a 90s pop feel, and we'll find something that's completely instrumental. And let's just scroll down. Let's try. Let's see here. Well, let's try this one. Okay. Thank you again. This is Tyre Alexander dropping a small bullet in the tip jar. Oh, what the hell are you doing? Oh, that's kind of loud. Here, I'll turn that down. Today's sponsor is FU Farms. We'd like to announce a new product, FTG. FTG is homegrown and heartfelt. It can be given to foes and friends alike. Remember to give someone an FTG from FU Farms. FTG Biden, Kamala, Spartacus, and anyone who likes these guns. Oh, God. Okay, I said that out loud. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of the show today. I want to thank you all for being here at the Morning Night Live. I kind of like this kind of exit music. If you'd be so kind, before you hit the buttons that are on your mouse or computer or touch your phone, please hit the like button before you go, and share this stream 24 hours a day, before, during, or after the stream. If you're watching on a replay, please put a comment in the comment section. Oh, there's Tyra right there. Streamlabs Superstar sponsor today. And finally, if you want to sponsor the show in a more substantive way, you can do that through SuperChats from YouTube, Streamlabs, PDawgKnight.live. You can open the window, you can watch the show and participate in the chat and sponsor the show. Or there's a couple other options in the description down below, Venmo and Cashapp. Thanks for everyone who sponsored the show today. That would be James Das Hotep and Tyre Alexander. You are fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for joining me today on the PDawgKnight channel. My name is PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Hey, this is PDawgKnight, and thank you for watching today on the PDawgKnight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cashapp, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here.